Hello T5BSc students, welcome back to the virtual classroom, and we are going to continue with our previous lecture about the host, types of host. In this, up to now, we have seen different type of host. Those different type of host were definitive host, then you have intermediate host, paratenic host, reservoir host, and accidental host. And in that we have already finished with the definitive host, host in which the adult parasite lives and undergoes sexual reproduction, which is called as definitive host. So we have already seen the examples of a mosquito acts as a definitive host in malaria. Okay, in many infections we have seen humans are definitive host. There are many animals which are definitive host for many of the parasites. Today we are going to talk about the next type of host, that is called as intermediate host. Now this is not a definitive host. Definitive, where a definitive host was the last host where the parasite will go and stay there, okay, and mature sexually, and reproduction will also takes place. Intermediate host is not a definitive host, so naturally the parasites will not live forever within that host. So who is the intermediate host? So an intermediate host in an organism that hosts the asexual form of parasite only. So even though if there is any changes that happens within the parasite, that will be a sexual form of changes. So only when there is an obligatory passage through the host. Now there are few more definitions. Again, I always give you different definitions. Out of these, any definition that you like it or is simple for you, that you can go through. So another definition is the intermediate host, a host in which a parasite passes one or more of its asexual stages again, usually designated first and second, and if there is more than one, okay, means there can be more than one asexual stages. It can be first, second, third, fourth, and so far so forth. So different types of host, different types of asexual stages. So again, secondary, again this one is intermediate host is also called as a secondary host. So definitive host is a primary host, intermediate host is a secondary host. So intermediate host is an organism that harbors the sexually immature parasites and required by the parasite to undergo development and complete its life cycle. So it is often acts as a vector of a parasite to reach its definitive host. So this is about the intermediate host definitions. You can go through any definitions. Now intermediate host can be of two types. One is it is a passive host, and second one is the active intermediate host. Okay, so passive intermediate host, IH, is the intermediate host, and active intermediate host. So what is passive intermediate host? Or also in some references they said passive method of host finding. Okay, so what happens here? Passive host, many parasites get transmitted through water, okay, and find a host by simply waiting for a host to find them. So they will remain with, as we have talked about, the cyst formations or egg, okay. Once the egg or cyst comes in contact with water, the larval form will come out. Now this larval form will wait within the water unless and until they get another host because they want to get transferred, they want to change. So what will happen, they will just, so parasite has no direct control over the host, so he cannot just go there and pick up the host. They have to wait for the host. Yes, there are many parasites. Any parasite doesn't enter into any kind of host. There are specific hosts also. Even the intermediate hosts are also very much specific. So whatever adaptation they have gone through in the intermediate host, that adaptation they have to carry out. So parasite has no direct control over the host, it will enter. So this mode of transmission applies to the cyst, as I have told you, and some eggs or larval stages. Most of the time larval stages present in intermediate host or vectors may also be transmitted passively. So we will see example of mollusca in next slide. So passive means they will wait for the next host, and then when that host will come, at that time they will get transferred into that host. So this is a passive method of finding or selecting a host. So they will have to wait, and this is observed in all those parasites which go through, which are present in environment in the form of cyst or maybe in the form of egg, and later when they find the host, the presence of water, they go into that host. So what is the active intermediate host? So hosts that harbor a parasite of another host without self getting affected, but acts as a source of infection. So here example is tsetse fly, responsible for the trypanosome. Okay, so they will have this parasite within them, they will not get infected by it, or it will just carry the parasite and transfer it into the definitive host, this intermediate host. Okay, but what is the difference between then passive and active? In passive, this particular parasite will grow, or as according to the definition you can see that they passes from one or more asexual stages. So in intermediate or in passive intermediate host, parasite will go through some asexual stages. So it is doing kind of infection to that particular intermediate host, and once they get transferred from several asexual stages, and one stage will be there where they cannot grow further, so this stage will get transferred or come out of the intermediate host and go towards the actual definitive host. But in case of active intermediate host, they will have them, there will be some changes, but there will be no infection to the intermediate host, and it will get directly transferred into the another definitive host. Okay, so remember this change, remember the intermediate host definition, that it says that it goes through, the parasite goes through asexual stages in one host, that is called as a intermediate host, and within that you have a passive and active host. So in active host, either there will not be many stages of parasite, it will remain there, and once it get the definitive host, it get transferred. So active intermediate host just carry it, whereas passive intermediate host will have some stages also. Okay, so this was about the intermediate host. We should see the examples of the intermediate host. The first one, as you can see, as I have told you, that cyst stage or egg stage, wherever any parasite is having such stages in life cycle, those are actually a passive intermediate host. So in passive, as you can see, Schistosoma eggs are eliminated through feces, okay, and urine, depending on the species. Generally fecal matter may contain this, and undergoes appropriate condition, the egg hatch, release the Meracidium larvae. Now the egg is released, Meracidium larvae will be present in the water, and it will wait for the another host. So which one it is? So which swim and penetrate specific snail intermediate host. So it will swim and see wherever the snail is present. Snail is having a soft body, Meracidium larvae is having penetrating body, it enters. Okay, and once it enters, the stage in the snail include 2 generation of sporocyst and production of Cercaria. So Miracidium, we will see the definite life cycle of this. This is just an example. आप लोगों को इसकी पूरी डिटेल लाइफ साइकिल स्टडी है. At that time we will again talk about this, but this is just an example that in passive intermediate host, as you can see, from egg one larvae come out, that will Miracidium that will enter into the snail. Now in snail there will be several generations, sporocyst, production of Cercaria, and it is released. Upon release from the snail, the infective Cercaria swim penetrate the skin of human host and shed their forked tails and become a schistosomule. Okay, and the rest of the stage they migrate via venous circulation to lungs, means through skin they will enter into the capillaries, through capillaries they will go towards the bloodstream, and then what it will go towards the circulation to lungs, then to heart, and maybe up to liver, and then liver it will mature, in portal vein it will mature. Okay, so this was one example. Another example is of Toxoplasma gondii. It's a protozoan parasite that infects most species of warm-blooded animals, okay, including humans, and cause the disease toxoplasmosis. Okay, the only known definitive host for this member is from the family Felidae, and it is in common, what you can say, domestic cats and their relatives. So they have this particular infection. Those are the definitive host. Okay, unsporulated oocysts are shed in the cat's fecal matter, and usually shedding for 1 to 3 weeks takes place. A large number may be shed. Okay, and 1 to 5 days require for the sporulation in the environment and become infective. So intermediate host generally in nature is birds and rodents, but become infected after ingesting soil, water, or plant material contaminated with oocysts. So what are the intermediate hosts for this particular animal? That is the birds and rodents. As you can see, rodents go through the soil may contaminated with this eggs, similar way with the birds also. Human become infected by any of several routes: by eating undercooked meat of the animals harboring tissue cysts, okay, consuming food or water contaminated with cat feces. Now, generally people don't eat cat, but there is a possibility that pigs may have it. Other than rodents, pigs can also be the intermediate host. And if suppose generally this infection doesn't happen to humans, but if humans eat pork, then or at that time there is a possibility that it will enter into the humans. Okay, so once it is enter the human, then one human can transfer the infection by several means. So what happens, how this takes place? Eating the undercooked meat of animals harboring tissue cysts, then consuming food or water contaminated with cat feces or maybe contaminated environmental samples. Blood transfusion or organ transplantation may also have these organisms, and there is a possibility that transplacental from mother to fetus, this may get transferred. Okay, so the parasite form tissue cyst, most commonly in skeletal muscle, myocardium, and sometimes in brain and eyes, and this become more dangerous. So diagnosis is usually achieved by serology, and although tissue cyst may be observed in the stained biopsy specimen. Okay, so diagnosis of congenital infection can be achieved by detecting T. gondii DNA in amniotic fluid using molecular methods such as PCR. So PCR is used. Now PCR, I think up to now you people know that whatever testing that has been carried out today for coronavirus is carried out by RT-PCR. Okay, that is the best method for detection purpose. No other method is actually can be that much accurate, as you can see about the RT-PCR. Now this is the first one. Second, active intermediate host, tsetse fly. Okay, Now this is an image of Trypanosoma ivasi. Giemsa staining is carried out. So multi-species genus of protozoan as per acidic in the blood and lymph of inner vertebrate, and vertebrates may have it, okay, including humans. So most species live part of their life cycle in intestine of insects, and another invertebrate, a typical adult stage being found only in the vertebrate host of this particular part. So a genus of asexual diagenic protozoan flagellate this is, and have a spindle shaped body with a undulating membrane on one side and single anterior flagellum, okay, and kinetoplast, they are parasiting in the blood plasma of man and vertebrate. So as a rule have a intermediate host, a blood sucking invertebrates such as leech, tick, insect pathogenic species cause trypanosomiasis in humans and other disease in the domestic animals. In this case there is a possibility of the tsetse fly which is responsible. So it will have this and later it directly transfer it. So here in this part trypanosoma doesn't have to wait for the host, it doesn't have to go out in the environment, stay in the water for getting infection. No, they are present in blood at different stages, directly they are carried out by the intermediate or vector and then again transferred into another. So there is no open environment like that. So this is the example of active intermediate host. So the next type is the accidental or incidental host. In many books incidental has been written, there are accidental also. So infection of host other than normal host species, a parasite may or may not continue full development, okay. So sometimes parasite is found in or on the body of host where it is not normally found. So these hosts are called as accidental host, and the parasite become temporary or accidental parasite. So host can be both accidental and definitive. In other words, the accidental host can still be there, still be where the parasite reaches maturity and reproduces. So it is just not the usual species. So different definitions, as you can see, an organism that generally does not allow transmission to the definitive host, thereby preventing the parasite from completing its development, okay. So infection of the host other than normal host species, a parasite may or may not continue full development in this host. So it will remain as it is, it will not go for several stages, it may sometimes die also inside the body of the host. So it's an accidental one. So sometimes a parasite is found, another definition, as you can see, sometimes parasite is found in or on the body of host where it is not normally found. So these hosts are called accidental host. The parasite become temporary or accidental parasite. Now again, for example, human beings is an incidental host in the development of Trichinella spiralis, okay. Now this is parasite which causes disease trichinosis in humans and is a nematode whose adult stage is found in intestine of rat, pigs and human beings. Basically humans are not the actual host, rat and pigs are actual host, okay. So accidental host is, it's in which generally asexual or sexual stages of any parasite doesn't takes place, because accidental hosts are not the actual definitive host or natural host, they enter in this body accidentally, okay. Accidentally means not necessary, they are not mean to enter, but because of some reason they enter, okay. So as you can see, it's a viviparous nematode, Trichinella, and occurring in the rodent, pigs, bears, hyenas in humans, responsible for disease trichinosis. So it is sometimes referred to as a pork worm due to being typically encountered in the undercooked pork products. So it will be present in the pork, as you can see in the diagram, larvae is present within the diaphragm muscle of pig, okay. So people in our India basically in there are less parts where pork people eat pork, but wherever they eat, we cook it properly. Most of the time people don't go for undercooked meat. Now what happens once infected pig, which was actual host, that particular person eat this pork, undercooked one, so he will have this particular parasitic infection. Other than this, there is one more example of a duck cystosome. Okay, so basically cystosome or Cercaria larvae, it enters into the duck, which will be the natural definitive host. Okay, but because of some reason they enter into the humans, which are the accidental host. For example, people have gone for swimming in the pond, and within that pond you may have these larvae. Now there are birds also which are actual definitive hosts, but you are there, so it has entered within your body. Okay, so this will be the another example of the intermediate the host, accidental host. Okay, so this is about the accidental host and intermediate host. In next lecture we will talk about rest of the remaining host. Thank you.